and welcome back to Sports the NEMO way. This is Wade. We're a little short-handed today. We have no Alberta and no Drew, but me and Ray and Uncle Doug will hold the fort down for today,
Yeah.
and we're gonna talk about Uncle Doug's favorite team, the Rams.
Yeah, Rams.
So we're gonna bring you the Rams 7-on-7. Hopefully by next episode we get the other two rascals back, and I guess you guys ready to kick her off?
Sure.
Sure.
All right.
So how many cities have the Rams been in?
Well, they started in Cleveland,
Oh, Cleveland. I didn't know about
went
that.
to L.A.,
Okay.
went to St. Louis,
Okay.
and then back to L.A.
Didn't they have a stop in Oakland at one point?
No,
No,
just
that was the
Raiders.
Raiders.
Just
The
the
Raiders
Raiders?
bounced back and forth between
Oh,
Oakland
okay.
and L.A., yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they originally started as the Cleveland Rams,
Oh,
How long ago was
okay.
that?
like 1930s maybe.
Wow, yeah.
Like long time ago. In the 50s, they were in L.A.
Mm.
So,
Okay. Interesting.
Well, Uncle Doug, do you want to give us your quarterback?
I do. My quarterback is Matthew Stafford.
I went back and forth, and I went with Stafford, but I thought I'd be the only one. I thought everyone would pick Warner.
No, I picked Stafford too.
Oh,
Yeah.
no way. Awesome.
I like Kurt. I mean, he got us a Super Bowl, but I'm a Matthew Stafford guy. I really
Stafford's
like
awesome.
him.
I'm shocked right now that all of us have Stafford, but I thought Kurt Warner would be the guy.
And I think if I looked on the passing list, there was a couple more ahead of those two that had better passing stats. But I was like, I don't think I really know those guys.
Well, it
so
might
I-
have been guys that played longer, but I think those two were the best two.
Yeah.
Stafford.
Yeah.
I mean, Warner had some gnarly seasons, and Stafford's had some pretty nasty ones as well.
Oh yeah. Jim Everett had some good seasons for him, and Roman Gabriel back in the 60s and 70s. When I first started rooting for the Rams, Roman Gabriel, I really liked him. And then way back in the 50s, they had I forget the guy's name now, but he was really good. But Stafford is my guy.
Yeah, the all-time leader is Jim Everett, and then it's Mark Bulger,
Okay.
and then Roman Gabriel, and then Jared Goff,
Oh.
and then Norm Van Brocklin.
Yep, that's the one from the 50s.
And then we're to Stafford and Warner right after that.
Yeah.
They both have 14,000 yards.
So, yeah, Stafford's got, well, his years with the Rams, he's got 14,700 yards, 65.7% completions. He's thrown 95 touchdown passes, 44 interceptions. QBR with the Rams of 95.2. So, of course, Super Bowl. He's such a gunslinger and gets that ball out quick to the right person, and I think he'd be perfect for 7-on-7.
Let's see, the one that I was thinking of, it just came to mind. It was the quarterback who's now on the Lions, who had better passing stats than both of them.
Right, Jared Goff.
Goff, yeah.
Yeah.
Goff had
Yeah.
a few good years there,
He did.
but he also
And
has some struggles.
Goff could play phenomenal, but certain times when the pressure ramped up,
Yeah.
he just didn't do it. He just folded up.
Well, Stafford did what Goff couldn't, and that was when things got hard in important games. The Super Bowl, Warner and Stafford came through with big, huge plays to help win the Super Bowl, while Jared Goff scored, 3 points in the Super Bowl, 6 points.
Yeah.
Belichick completely shut him down.
Yeah. Well, Belichick knew when the microphone in his helmet would go off. And he waited and switched his defense after the microphone went off, and McVay couldn't help him.
Yeah.
He had to read the defenses on his own at that point.
Yeah. Stafford and Warner could both go out there and read a defense and
Yeah.
switch and do whatever.
Oh, so is that like a thing where they shut the mic off at a certain
Yes,
point?
the mic shuts in your helmet shuts off at a certain point.
Goff's
Yeah.
rookie year, he was awful. And then after his rookie year, he started putting together some really nice seasons when
He did.
McVay came. But McVay was this offensive genius that created this whole new style of offense that the NFL hadn't really seen before. And he was getting Goff these easy, wide open throws. But in certain situations, when Goff had to do stuff on his own and McVay couldn't coach him through everything, he struggled a lot.
Okay.
And he's got to have a good offensive line because he
Yeah.
does not do well under pressure.
See, now Stafford made a career with bad offensive
Yeah.
lines with Detroit and still put up monster numbers. And
Right.
Warner's, I don't remember exactly what those offensive lines were with Warner, but I know they had Orlando Pace, but I don't know about
Right.
the rest of the guys. But and the big thing with Stafford for me was him and Warner have very comparable stats. Their yards and touchdowns are both very close together. They're almost the same. Their completion percentage is less than a point apart. But Warner has over 20 more in receptions than Stafford. Um, so I just think Stafford, as a Ram, is taking care of the ball a little bit more. They were both great players. And that
Oh,
Super
yeah.
Bowl season, Stafford had some of the most unreal throws to help them win the Super Bowl, in the Super Bowl, and to get to the Super Bowl. And that season, stat wise, was pretty equivalent to the numbers that Warner put up during his MVP season. Stafford threw for like 4,500 yards and 40 some touchdowns that year.
Mm-hmm.
He just didn't win the MVP, while Kurt Warner did when he had his monster season.
Yeah.
Um, but either one, I think, would have been a good pick.
Oh, yeah.
I'm curious what the other two would have picked, but
Yeah.
yeah,
All right. Well, that's a good way to start with the unanimous quarterback.
Heck yeah.
I'm still shocked by that.
I love it.
All right, Ray, who was your first weapon?
Okay. So I went with the one of the St. Louis Rams staples, one of the greatest show on turf players, Isaac Bruce.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Bruce.
My favorite Ram,
he's great.
Reverend Ike.
Yeah. Hall of Famer, 4-time Pro Bowler, that one Super Bowl win.
Caught the touchdown that won it, too.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. 14 years in St. Louis. He put 14,109 receiving yards, 15 yards per reception, 84 touchdowns. I mean, he was a monster in there. He was like giving candy to a baby with old Kurt Warner throwing that ball.
Yep.
I honestly think he's the most underrated receiver of all time. To be honest, he doesn't get mentioned with some of the other all-time greats, but numbers-wise, he's better than some of the other all-time greats.
Well, and he's really a nice guy.
Yeah.
When the Rams had training camp in Macomb, I got to meet him, and super nice guy to talk to, and he just second round draft pick out of University of Memphis, I believe.
Oh, okay.
When you have over 1,000 catches and over 15,000 yards for your career, you were a bad boy.
Yeah.
You were a badass. There's a lot of all-time great receivers we've talked about on this podcast that we've put in very high esteem that don't have either one of those.
Yeah.
I just think he gets kind of overshadowed sometimes. But
Yeah, and I really don't know why, because he was on top tier
he
through
just
that
wasn't.
whole level.
Yeah.
He just wasn't. Some guys are just more popular than others. That's just the way it
Yeah.
goes.
I mean, that's true. He was kind of low key, but I mean, he was putting up stats after stats, So
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I don't know why he wasn't like a
Well,
little
even
more
Marvin.
popular.
Like Marvin's our guy. Well,
Yeah.
Right.
Isaac is his guy. Marvin and Isaac, neither one of those guys got near the attention as a Randy Moss or a T.O.
Right.
But
Well, they're a lot quieter
Yeah,
personality-wise.
they weren't outroverts or whatever the hell you want to call it.
and Isaac and Marvin have just as good. I mean, I said in the wide receiver episode, I think Marvin's better than T.O.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, but they have almost similar stats or even better stats in some cases. So
Yeah,
I don't know. He was a great player.
Yep.
for sure.
Well, I guess it's to me, isn't it?
Yep.
Well, I guess I'll just keep the little tradition going with the greatest show on turf here, and I'll go with his running mate, Torrey Holt.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Definitely got Torrey.
For the Rams, he has 869 receptions for 12,660 yards and 74 TDs. A guy that we've talked about on here that we're still shocked is not in the Hall of Fame. Him and Reggie Wayne are kind of the two all-time greats that for some reason they won't put in.
Yeah.
We don't really understand why. Like me and Drew both, well, I think Alex too, we've touched on this 1,000 times. But I mean, in 11 years for his entire career, he had over 13,000 yards in 11 seasons, over 900 receptions for his entire career. And him and Isaac Bruce are probably top 3 wide receiver tandem in NFL history.
Oh yeah, most
Oh, yeah.
definitely.
I mean,
yeah.
you could probably argue for them being number 1. To be honest, it's probably them, Reggie and Marvin, and then by Stallworth and Swan. Maybe they have Super
Yeah.
Bowls. Tandem wise, I'm not really sure who could touch those 3 tandems. Unless you
Yeah.
count Carter and Moss, but they barely played together. I
Yeah.
think Carter was getting older
Right.
when
Yeah,
Moss
that
came in.
wasn't Carter's peak right
They
then.
just weren't in their peaks for very long together. But yeah, I mean, Isaac and Tori were 2 of the 4 main characters of the Greatest Show on Earth.
Yep.
Main characters.
I mean, it kind of was. It was them, Kurt,
Marshall.
and I guess you
Yeah.
could throw Orlando Pace on there with the big dogs.
See,
Yep.
I always forget
They were
about
the Hall of
Orlando
Famers.
Pace, but
Oh, yeah.
And he's a Hall of Fame left tackle.
yeah.
Yep.
I mean, you brought him up. I'm like, yeah, I remember him. Yeah.
Those
I
are
know
like the Hall of
Orlando.
Famers that carried that all-time great offense. But, well, I think we're back to you, Uncle Doug.
All right. Well, I'm going to go a little farther back. Going to go back to Henry Ellard.
Yep, I got him.
I don't have that one.
Henry played for the Rams from 83 through 93. Played 11 years for the Rams. And he was just kind of their main guy during that time period. Excuse me. 11 years, he had almost 600 catches, 593. Almost 10,000 yards, 97.61. Averaged 16.5 yards per catch, had 48 touchdowns. He had a season where he led the league with 1,414 yards. He had a season where he led the league in yards per catch at 19.5. He had another one of 19.7. He led the league in yards per game a couple different times. One year with 88 yards per game and one year with 98 yards per game. He averaged over 60 yards per game for his career. Made 3 Pro Bowls, 2 first-team All-Pros. He was just Mr. Consistency for quite a few years for the Rams.
It's a third straight wide receiver who has over 13,000 yards for their career.
Yeah. Yeah, he has 1377 for his career.
I didn't look. Did he make the Hall of Fame?
Not yet.
That's getting crazy. That's insane.
Yeah. So.
Well, Ray, who did you have instead of him?
Well, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna pick one of 2 of my running backs that I put on here first.
Okay.
The first one I got is Steven Jackson.
Oh, I don't have Steven, but
I
I bet I got your other running back.
I thought about a 2-back system, but I ended up with just one. Steven was going to be my second one, but
Well, see, I didn't really know anything about Ellard, and I kind of, I guess, glossed over him. And I got a couple younger receivers on here, so
Yeah.
kind of a little fresh take, I guess. But
Well, that's all right.
But I seen Steven Jackson. I'm like, him and Marshall Falk, and I looked at the receiving. I said that's pretty decent. So I'm like, I'm gonna put them both on here.
Steven Jackson was a fucking tank for a while.
Yeah.
He was.
Let's see. He's a 3-time Pro Bowler. He was in St. Louis for 9 years. He put up 10,138 rushing yards with 56 touchdowns. He put up 3,324 receiving yards with 8.2 reception and 8 touchdowns. So, I mean, he was a total package there for a long time, especially after the Greatest Show had left. He was kind of holding it down for him there for a minute.
Yeah, he was kind of there during some of their dark years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately for him.
Then he found his way to Shitlanta and
Yeah.
eventually retired with, what was the team? Oh, New England.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Well, mine. Were you done, Ray?
Yeah, I'm cool.
Okay. My next pick, I threw Cooper Cup on.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, that's one of mine.
Most definitely.
One of their more modern players. He had literally just left this offseason. going to
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. I couldn't remember if he rolled out or not.
to Seattle. But in 8 years has over 7,700 yards and 57 touchdowns and over 630 receptions. And injuries, unfortunately, have bitten him throughout his career. But when he was healthy, he was a hell of a receiver. And he has one of the, I don't know, one of the top couple greatest seasons ever. That season alone might put him on the list. I mean, in 2021, he had 145 receptions for almost 2,000 yards. He was just a hair short of 1950 and 16 touchdowns and won the receiver triple crown. And then went on to dominate in the playoffs and I think got Super Bowl MVP.
I believe so.
I guess it'll
Yeah,
say.
that whole year run for him was magical, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, he's Super Bowl MVP.
Well, and I think he could have broke some of the records, but he even came out and said that he said, I don't want to break that record in 17 games when it was set in 16.
Yeah,
Oh.
You know, and so he just went with what he got naturally and wasn't really trying to do
Force
the
it.
extra to get the record. Yeah, which really, that's kind of the way records ought to go. They ought to go, you know,
yeah.
just in the natural flow of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, the next year, he's on pace for like 1,600 yards. He just gets hurt.
Yeah, he had some injury problems after that big
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, the injury bug bit him a few times in his career, unfortunately. But when he played, he was very, very talented.
Oh, yeah. Made some unbelievable catches.
He did. He did. Great route runner. Ooh. Well, I think we are back to you, Uncle Doug.
Yeah, well, I'm skipping an obvious one to go with one of my favorite players from the past, Flipper Anderson.
Put him on.
Yeah, I didn't expect anybody else, but I was going to put him on him. His real name was Willie Lee Anderson, better known as Flipper. He got he did win a Super Bowl, but I think it was with Washington or Denver, somebody. The last couple years of his career, he bounced around a little bit, but he made some playoff runs with the Rams. Played there, had a 10-year career, played 7 of it for the Rams. Had 259 receptions for 5,246 yards for a yards per catch of 20.3. He finished his 10-year career averaging 20.1 yards per catch. He led the league twice with 21.5 and 26.0. He had another season of 20.5, and his rookie year he had 29 yards per catch. Now, he only had like 11 catches because he was just getting started. But long passes. I don't know if you've ever seen the highlight. I'm trying to think who they were playing in the playoffs. Might have been the Giants. And he catches a long 70, 80 yard something touchdown pass and just runs right up the tunnel. Game's over. He's done. But, yeah, I always really liked him. So I thought I'd throw him out there. He's definitely a deep threat and going to get you a lot of yards.
Fair enough. Ray, who's your next guy?
All right. So I went with the super young blood, Puka Nakua.
He is. I also threw him on.
Okay.
He was pretty much my last decision.
Now, I know he's only been there 2 years, but that rookie season and then the year after, I think he's more than proven that he should be on a 7-on-7 list at least. He was a one-time Pro Bowler, Rookie of the Year, SN, whatever that is. Let's see, 2 years, 2,476 yards. His first year was 1,486, and his second year was 990. 13.5 yards per reception, 9 touchdowns. But we've seen this man, and he is legit.
Oh yeah.
But
he got 990 yards last year in just 11 games.
11 games.
Right. Yeah.
Because he was injured.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Puka's amazing.
yeah, they might have lost Cup, but I mean, they got a nice replacement if he can stay healthy.
Oh yeah.
And he had almost 1,500 yards as a rookie, and he actually averaged more yards per game last year than he did his rookie year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Missed a few games.
Well, he set a bunch of the rookie receiving records, which Brock Bowers then turned around and broke the next year.
Yeah, I think Bowers got his reception record.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. Bowers is amazing too, but yeah, Puka's awesome.
I just couldn't believe the Rams found another dude that plays exactly like Cooper Kupp and maybe a little bit better than Cooper Kupp.
He's good size too. He's not a little guy.
Yeah. And where's he from? Hawaii?
I think he may be from Hawaii. I think he went to BYU
BYU. Okay.
for school. Yeah. Which BYU gets a lot of people from Samoa, Polynesia, Hawaii. So
Yeah, that's big. That and wrestling's big time down there.
yeah.
Well, I have one guy left. And it's
Yep.
Marshall Falk.
Oh yeah.
Yep, that's who I got.
Most definitely.
The greatest receiving running back in NFL history. I think I already kept slightly gushed over him in the Colts episode, and I threw him on there too. But he's a running back who caught almost 800 fucking passes.
Yeah.
he has 767 career receptions. He's just a little under 7,000 yards receiving for his career, and has 36 receiving touchdowns. He's what all running backs are compared to when it comes to being a dual threat running back. He is the gold standard of pass catching running backs. Then you throw in the fact that he was also a Hall of Famer running the ball. That made him one of the most unstoppable players in NFL history.
Yep.
He was literally called Superman in his prime. So,
Right.
this is just my opinion. Maybe Uncle Doug will disagree with me, but I think he was the best player and the driving force of the greatest show on turf.
Oh, I think
His
so.
ability to run and catch, and he was a constant mismatch for the defense. And I think the two great receivers were super hard to deal with. Obviously, having Kurt Warner throwing the ball, and then Marshall Falk just kind of made it unfair.
Yeah. I mean, really.
I think that's kind of the two great receivers were a headache, and then Marshall Falk just put the difficulty mode on all Madden.
Yeah, because you don't know how to set the lineup. You
Right.
don't know if this guy's going to do a wheel route out the backfield or if he's going to go right at your fucking face, you know?
Well, and you can't guard him with a linebacker.
No, you cannot.
No, you've got to put a safety, and it better be a fast safety.
Yeah.
I
Or a corner on
I've
him.
watched I can't talk. Watch people talk about him that said he would line up against slot corners who their specialty is guarding quick slot receivers, and he would beat them.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like he was just great at running routes and just knew what he was doing. And to be honest, Oz Hakeem was good too.
Oh yeah, he was.
Oh,
Oz
yeah.
Hakeem was great.
It was just a phenomenal offense, and he was a great player.
Well, I was watching a documentary on Marshall the other night, and they had Martz on that did the offense.
Oh, Mike
And,
Marth?
Yeah, Mike Martz. And they asked him his opinion of Marshall, and he said, first time I met him, first meeting we had, and he said, I knew I had something special, and I told the coach afterwards, he says, this team may go someplace. Because Marshall was new to the Rams, new to the offense and everything. And so Mark starts the meeting, and he says, Marshall raises his hand. He says, you got a question? Is there something? And he turns around and he looks at all the offensive guys that are there. He says, do you guys all have notebooks, pens, pencil, something to take notes? He says, because we're going to miss something if you don't. And he said, every one of us, because Marshall had several notebooks, pens, all this stuff. And he said, we all need to be taking notes, Coach. I just want to make sure everybody's got what they need. And they interviewed one of the other quarterbacks or something. He said, every meeting after that, if you showed up in a meeting with Marshall, you came in with a notepad, a pen, everybody took notes on what March was teaching them because his offense was complicated.
Oh,
He set
okay.
the standard.
Yeah.
Sounds like he set the standard for the rest of the team.
And so Marshall that's the way he led. He said, I'm going to make sure I know everything,
Yeah.
and,
I mean, that's being a professional, really.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think at that time, Marks had like the most complex offense in the NFL, and that's kind of what
Yeah.
made their offense so special. Is that they was just doing stuff that was innovative, people
Right.
haven't really done before. It was just an all-time great offense all around.
It was fun to watch.
Yeah.
So what we got? Looks like 5 unanimous.
1, 2, 3,
everybody done?
4.
I'm done.
Yeah, I'm done. Yeah.
Okay. All right, we're good.
So yeah, 5 unanimous. Jackson with the Uno. Ellard's got 2. Flipper Anderson's with 1, and then Nakua's got 2.
Well, Ray, if you want to come off Jackson and go to Ellard, I'll come off Flipper and go to Nakua, and we're in.
Bingo.
All right. Simple enough, guys. It's weird seeing 3s up there and thinking that they're automatically in.
Yeah.
It threw me off at first. Did you all see that little fight just between Jalen Brown and Josh Hart?
No, I just missed
No, I
I think
missed
they
it.
teed Brown up for it. Sorry, we're watching a basketball game.
Yeah.
Audience here.
We-
We had a really interesting. It was the play before this. Brown came up and rammed into him really hard, and then pushed him in the back, and then put his arm around him, and then Josh Hart just hit him in the chest twice, like really hard.
Yeah.
Anyway,
All right.
that was really easy, guys. But
Yeah.
this is a badass 7-on-7 team. This is probably one of the top 2 or 3 offenses, I'd say.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
you got speed, size, possession.
You got everything.
Yeah.
I mean, for the audience, our conclusion here for the 7-on-7 offense is Matthew Stafford, Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt. What is Ellard's first name?
Henry.
Henry Ellard, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nakua, and Marshall Falk. That is a deadly offense, I would say. We gotta get our defenses ready here.
Yeah, this will be a little different.
Yeah. Don't worry, the Colts had this great offense and then just really poop defense.
Yeah, I didn't really know any of the defensive guys really. Like I knew that there's a couple I recognized, but
Yeah.
I don't really know any of the Rams guys.
Well, Uncle Doug, you want to kick us off?
Sure. My first guy is Todd Light.
Yep, I got him.
All right. Todd was corner for the greatest show there. He came in through some of the dark days and lasted through the Super Bowl. Played 12 years, 10 of those for the Rams. He finished up a couple years in Detroit, but in the years with the Rams, he had 31 interceptions. 3 of those he ran back for TDs, 6 forced fumbles, 5 fumble recoveries, including a touchdown. Ran one of those back for a touchdown. Second team All-Pro and a Pro Bowl. Todd was just that fundamental piece they brought in. He came out of Notre Dame. It was their first round draft pick back in 91. It was just the foundation of the secondary for years to come. And again, another nice guy. I actually have his autograph. I met him at Macomb when I took Alex up there. So I was actually standing talking to him while Alex was standing talking to Isaac Bruce.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And so then I got to talk to Isaac. And so, yeah, it was having training camp in Macomb, just not that far away from us, was pretty awesome. And you got to go the next year.
Mm-hmm.
You were a little bit smaller and wanted to go. And we had a pretty cool story with you, but it was a defensive lineman that you got to meet.
I still have that autograph. I found it a while back.
Oh,
I think
yeah?
I brought it in and asked you who it was.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember. I couldn't read the name on it, and I was trying to think who it was, and you told me.
Yeah, DeMarco Farr.
Yeah, I use it as my bookmark in my comic books. It's my autograph page.
Yeah,
I know what to do with it. So I was like, actually, I'll use it as a bookmark for my comic books.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's I think he still does Rams broadcasts. I think he's still around St. Louis and as a radio guy or something for them.
Huh.
DeMarco. He was kind of an undersized defensive lineman, all heart. Was on those Super Bowl teams and just really good player. Really nice guy too.
Seemed like it.
Won't be on our 7-on-7 though.
No.
Yeah.
Well, Ray, who you got, buddy?
All right, so I got an oldie, defensive back. His name's Eddie Meador.
Yep.
Yeah, I got him.
Okay.
He's their franchise's all-time leader in interception.
Yep.
He's a 6-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro, All 60s team, Alan Page Award, all 12 years with the Rams, 46 interceptions, played 100 or started 160 out of 163, 5 interceptions for touchdown, 22 fumble recoveries. Holy crap. And then that's the end of the stats. Holy crap, I guess I missed 22 fumble recoveries. Dude, that dude was eating on the ground.
Yeah.
Between the 40-something interceptions and the 20-something home recoveries, he's
My-
getting the ball a lot.
Yeah,
That's right.
that fool was everywhere. Holy damn.
He's a turnover machine.
You guys said we all had him, right?
Yep.
Okay. Well, my first guy that I came up with is Jalen Ramsey.
Yep. I got Jalen too.
Oh, I didn't get him. Man.
Did you just go down the interceptions list again, Ray?
Partially. But I also looked up defensive players and I didn't really see him anywhere on any list. And
Him and Aaron Donald carried that defense that
well,
won
I
the Super
meant,
Bowl.
well, I remember Aaron Donald, but I was gonna put him on a list.
Right.
But I don't know why Jalen Ramsey wouldn't have come up.
Yeah. He didn't have that many interceptions simply because they never threw at him.
Yeah.
You're not Jalen Ramsey during this time period. You weren't throwing the ball anywhere near him.
He'd already
Right.
Not if you're smart.
Yeah. He'd already established himself as the best corner in the league at this point. It was
Yeah.
him in Jacksonville and with the Rams. He was considered the top corner in the league for the majority of that time.
Oh yeah.
Now he's not anymore. For the past 2 or 3 years, he's getting older. He's
Right.
been getting hurt and losing a little athleticism, and a couple guys like Patrick Surtain and Sauce Gardner have kind of surpassed him. But at this point in time, when he's with the Rams, like I said, he helped them win a Super Bowl. Him and Aaron Donald led that defense to win a Super Bowl. So when you have the best corner in the league and the best defensive lineman in the league, it helps.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, he's one of the best corners of this generation of football, and I imagine he's probably going to make the Hall of Fame. First career, he's a 7-time Pro Bowler, has 3 first-team All-Pros. I'm guessing he probably has a few more second teams. Like I said, is a Super Bowl champion with the Rams. Yeah, it's one of our great current players.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Uncle Doug, I think we're back to you.
All right. Well, my next corner is Leroy Irvin.
Yep.
He
Yep.
played for the Rams from 1980 through 89. Finished up a year in Detroit. Just really solid corner for the Rams during that whole time period. He saying that 10 years, he had 34 interceptions. 5 of those he ran back for touchdowns, including an 81-yarder. He had 13 fumble recoveries, 18 fumbles overall. He ran back 69. Well, 2 of those. That's weird how they have that list. He ran back 1 of the fumbles for a touchdown. Made 2 Pro Bowls, 2 first-team All-Pros, 1 second-team All-Pro. Just solid cover corner.
Ray, I think we're back to you, buddy.
All right. Another little oldie but goodie. Defensive back, Nolan Cromwell.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, I got him.
I like Nolan Cromwell.
Free safety.
He was an awesome safety.
Okay.
I want to say Nolan might have been there. What years did he play?
77 to 87.
Yeah, he was on the 79 Super Bowl team that lost to the Steelers.
Oh,
He was
okay.
one of the leaders of the defense of that team, along with the Young Bloods and some of them.
Gotcha. Oh, he went to y'all's favorite college, Kansas.
Yeah. I won't hold that against him.
But 4-time Pro Bowler, 3 All Pros, another Hall of Fame All 80s team, UPI Defensive Player of the Year, 11 years in LA, 37 interceptions, 4 for touchdown. Wow, 19 fumble recoveries. And that dude was eating everywhere too. And 2 sacks. So another fucking dog for the Rams.
Yeah, Cromwell was good.
All right, we're almost there, boys. We got a lot of threes up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just 1, 2, but doing pretty good. All right, this one, my next one. This might be a bit of a stretch because he wasn't there very long, but he's obviously a name that jumps out. I put Night Train Lane on there.
Yep.
You put him on too?
Yep,
Okay.
I did.
All right, I don't feel as bad then. Obviously he's one of the greatest early on NFL players ever. I mean, he still has a lot of notoriety today, and he played in the 50s and 60s. Considered one of the all-time greats, pioneer of the sport. His first year in the NFL, he is with the Rams and has 14 fucking interceptions.
In 12
Wow.
games.
Yeah, in 12 games, and led the league, obviously.
Yeah. And ran 2 of them back for touchdowns.
Yeah.
Nice.
And
Very
had a
nice.
safety.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, and then he played another year there, and then he had really let us down after that 14 performance. Only had 3 the next year.
Yeah. Everybody was afraid to throw the ball anywhere near him.
That's
Yeah.
probably true. That is probably true. But yeah, he started off his career with the Rams, played a few years there. It's one of the greatest rookie seasons in NFL history. And he's an all-time great player. So I thought on a defense where there's not a ton of notable defensive backs, being able to put a guy like Night Train Lane on there, I thought was a good idea. So I went with it.
Well, and you think about when he played in the 50s, Night Train Lane was 6'1", 194.
Yeah.
And played,
okay.
yeah. He wasn't a little guy.
6'1" nowadays, you're considered a pretty good-sized corner.
Yeah.
Back then, he was probably I think it was kind of like a Jim Brown thing. He was bigger, stronger, and faster than
Yes.
most people he went against. He was just a phenomenal natural athlete that has adapted to the game very, very quickly and very easily, and he was just born to play football. But yeah, let's see.
Alright.
Oh shit.
Well, I think we're back to you, Uncle Doug.
Okay.
He gets around quickly with only 3 people.
Yeah. And I'm trying to decide which one of these guys.
I only got 1 guy left, I believe.
I'm gonna go with Aeneas Williams.
I probably should have, though. Well, I don't have him on this time around.
I don't either.
Phone is being a pain. Come on, there it goes. Aeneas is in the Hall of Fame, 3-time Pro Bowler, or 3-time All-Pro, 8-time Pro Bowler. He only played for 4 years for the Rams, had 9 interceptions during that time period, ran 3 of those 9 back for touchdowns, 4 forced fumbles, 9 fumble recoveries, including one of those running those back 95 yards for a touchdown. Couple hundred combo tackles, 180 solo. Yeah. Most of his accolades in his career, which he is a 8-time Pro Bowler, 3-time All-Pro, came earlier in his career. But he was still really good when he played for the Rams.
Yeah.
We had a couple other guys that were also pretty good, but Aeneas was just pretty talented. And
I mean, he's a Hall of Famer.
yeah, so I went with him.
Okay.
All right, Ray, who else you got, buddy?
I went with Keith Lyle.
I don't have him.
Defensive back, one-time Super Bowl champion. Played from 94 to 2000, or 94 to 2000 in St. Louis, or the Rams total, excuse me. Let's see, he had 28 interceptions, forced fumbles, one fumble recovery for touchdowns, 4 sacks, and 464 combo tackles.
I believe he was the free safety on that Super Bowl team.
I say he was there till 2000. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember him. He was good.
Got nice interception numbers for the
Oh yeah.
time period there. Well, I have one guy left. This is my last guy. I kind of just picked this guy because he was someone who I remembered growing up, and he started his career in St. Louis, and that's Dre Bly.
Oh yeah, I forgot about old Dre. I like Dre Bly.
He's for his career, he's a two-time Pro Bowler and a Super Bowl champion. That Super Bowl came with the Rams. He played the prime of his career was St. Louis and Detroit. I think he ended his career in Denver and San Francisco at the very end, but I don't think he was quite the same player at that point. But with St. Louis and Detroit, he was one of the better corners in the league, and he forced a lot of turnovers. In 11 seasons, he has 43 interceptions, which is a really nice number. Has 20 forced fumbles, 12 fumble recoveries, a couple sacks. Yeah, just when I was growing up, I just remember him being a really good corner. I remember he's one of those Madden guys, Ray. When we were growing up, you're playing Madden. I always remember Dre Bly being on the Detroit Lions, tearing it up. He was always like their best corner on Madden.
Gotcha.
But I remember he was there early on with the St. Louis team, and he was there on the Super Bowl team, and he had a 4-year stint there, and was one of their better players on that defense, and had some really nice seasons, and yeah, Dre Bly.
Yeah, I like Dre.
So how do you used to play the defense, Wade? Do you used to just kind of switch to the corners, or you used to switch on a line player?
Well, I think like most people, my favorite thing to do would be rush the passer, be a defensive end, and try and stack the quarterback.
See, that's what I did. I always
When they
switched.
would throw it, I would click to the defensive back and try and pick it off.
See, I
Once
was
I
never.
got good enough at it. Yeah.
See, I was never good at that, so I was always like, okay, I'm gonna get Freeney or Mathis. I'm just kind of
Yeah.
take out the quarterback,
Well, that is the fun part. But then, like, once you get good enough, but when you're learning how to do it, you're gonna fuck it up and give up a touchdown all the time because you're gonna miss time the jump, and then the wide receiver's just gonna catch it.
Yeah.
But once you learn how to do it, picking the passes off for it was kind of easy.
Oh, okay.
But it did take a while to learn. I would fuck it up all the time when I was younger, and then I eventually learned how to do it. And now it's the opposite. Now Drew tries to get me to play his video games when I come over, and I haven't played them in so long. Now I'm back to sucking. I screw everything up again.
Yeah.
But it's been a long time since I played a lot of these games. Anyway, yeah, I'm out, guys.
Yeah, I'm out.
Oh, okay. Well, I got 2 left, so I'll speed through it.
Okay.
Rod Perry,
Yep, I remember Rod.
2-time Pro Bowler. He spent 8 years in Ram country. 28 interceptions, 4 for touchdown, 5 fumble recoveries, 1 sack. Yeah. And he played in 75 to 84.
Yeah, he would have been on the Steelers Super Bowl loss.
Okay. And then the next one is Will Sherman. Well, that's not it. Give me a second, listeners. I gotta pull up my thing here. Sherman. There we go. And he's an oldie too. He's from the 50s and 60s. 2-time Pro Bowler, 1 All-Pro, another defensive back. I guess I went defensive back crazy this time. But 7 years in LA with 28 interceptions, 3 for touchdown, 2 fumble recoveries, and yeah, that's it. You know anything about Will Sherman, Doug?
I do
No?
not. That one I
Okay.
don't really know. What years did he play?
Would have been 54 to 61 or 54 to 60.
Okay, yeah, I don't really remember him.
He played, I guess Dallas in 52, I think. If that's what DTX stands for. Dallas Texans, okay.
Oh yeah.
And then he played his last year in Minnesota in
Okay.
61.
Yeah, some of those '50s Rams teams were great teams, but I just don't know. They're before me, so I don't really know that much about them.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
I did read a pretty interesting book written by the son of one of the offensive linemen that played back in the '50s, and he was only like 250 pounds, and he
Hmm.
played like guard, but that was typical.
Nice.
And he talks about how they had to be quick because they could not hold. I mean, literally, what guys get away with now, the grabbing inside, no, you were not allowed to hold at all.
Hmm.
You actually had to shield and block. And so they valued quickness and agility and being able to stay in front of the defensive lineman. And so it was an interesting book.
I think we talked about that a long time ago. We were talking about it was an all-time great Colts offensive lineman. I think that we put on one of the all-time like top 5 lists. I think it's actually the guy we chose over the guy that Drew puts an asterisk next to.
Oh.
Yeah.
We talked about how he had to block like this in the episode.
Yes.
How he couldn't put your hands on him. He
Right.
had to like, because it was illegal back then. So he was like this all-time great tackle, and he wasn't even allowed to put his hands on people. And it was, yeah, I think.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
I think
And the game was different. Much harder for the linemen.
Yep, kind of like today. Hand check and no hand check
Yeah.
in the NBA.
Well, let's see. We got 4 guys in.
1, 2, 3, 4.
We had a
5,
couple of
6,
2s and a whole bunch of 1s.
11 total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ones. Wow. Well, let me see. Let me see what I can do here. I'll take.
Okay.
I'll take Lyle off, and I'll go ahead and put Night Train on.
Okay.
Okay.
That works.
Think you can come to Ramsey?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Who had Williams?
That's Uncle Doug.
Okay, and then
I have Bly.
Bly. Okay. Then I'll take Perry off and go to Ramsey.
So
Okay, so Ramsey's in.
what do we want to go to between Bly, Williams, and Sherman? I mean, I don't
Oh.
really.
Well, I'll come off Aeneas and go to Bly
Okay.
because Aeneas we had at the end of his career. He was still good, but it was the end of his career. Dre we had at the beginning of his career.
Yeah, that's true.
And so yeah, I'll come off Aeneas and go to Bly.
Okay. I'll follow the night train, as you would say, and go to Bly.
All right.
There we go.
Pretty good, boys. All right, you guys might have to help me with some of his first names. The final product here for the defense, we have Dre Bly, Night Train Lane. What is Cromwell's first name?
Nolan.
Nolan.
Cromwell. What is Irvin's first name?
Leroy.
Leroy Irvin. Jalen
Jalen.
Ramsey. Eddie, is that
Meador.
Yeah.
and Todd Light.
Yeah.
Not bad. I think it's decent. Okay.
Oh yeah. And there's a guy I almost put on. I've just got to tell the quick story. He played for the Rams. He just played for him for like 4 years, and then he had a 11-year career. He played for the Giants and Tennessee and several places. But Jack Rabbit Jenkins,
Oh yeah.
Janoris, you
I know
remember
him.
him?
I've heard
Yeah.
that before.
He's a recent player.
Yeah, from Pahokee, Florida. Played from 2012 through 22. And yeah, I always liked him.
I didn't think
Yeah.
he was there that long. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I remember him playing for us for a couple years, but no, I didn't remember what happened to him after that.
Huh. He
Yeah.
was good. He was a good guy, good player.
Um,
Well, guys, I don't think we ever figured out which MVP we want to do. At the end of
That's
this.
true.
well, Marshall has one in 2000. Kurt Warner has one in 99 and 01. And then Roman Gabriel has one in 69.
Saw that.
Do we want to maybe go back and look at 69 and see?
I don't. I mean, I don't care which one we do. Um, I looked up Marshalls to see what that was like. I hadn't made it to the other ones yet though.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I figure Marshall probably deserved his.
yeah, there's really only one person that even puts up a fight. To be honest, and you know who it is, Ray?
Who's that?
Peyton Manning.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
He kind of blows
Uh-huh.
everybody else out of the water, but Peyton only got one vote, so Peyton must have done something wrong that year.
Oh.
But do you want to do? You said it was 69 for Roman Gabriel.
Yep.
Yeah, we can do that. After talking, I didn't even look up Warner's.
Well, the one is the Super Bowl year, and the other one was the year I think they lost to the Patriots in the Super Bowl.
I think you are correct. He gets hurt the year in between, doesn't he?
I believe so.
It was the summer of '69.
I'm sure Kurt had big numbers playing on that offense. So.
Oh yeah.
But okay, Roman Gabriel back in 1969. He got 44% of the vote. It was split between he and a couple other guys. 14 games. He threw for 2,500 yards,
Hmm.
24 TDs, 7 interceptions,
Oh, nice.
35 rushing attempts for 156 yards and 5 more touchdowns.
Oh, that's pretty good.
His completion percentage, it was over 50%, but they don't have it listed out. They just the next two guys in line though are both Minnesota Vikings, and I'm thinking maybe Minnesota went to the Super Bowl this year.
Oh, it could have been.
Their quarterback Joe Kapp was number 2.
It's
He
a
got
Joe Cap.
Kapp, yep, Kapp.
I don't get this one.
He got 17% of the vote, barely over 50% passing, 120 out of 237 for 1,700 yards, threw 19 touchdowns with 13 interceptions, ran 22 times for 104 yards. Yeah, they had to have gone to the Super Bowl.
1,700 yards and
Yeah.
19 touchdowns.
Huh.
And
That's crazy.
the third guy is Carl Eller, defensive end for the Vikings.
There's 2 defensive ends or 3.
You know, and to see it, oh yeah, Rams guy Deacon Jones is down there, Bears Dick Butkus, Alex Karras from the Lions.
Oh,
The
yeah.
defensive guys actually got some love that
I
year.
didn't see Dick Buckus. I'd love to do.
Yeah. So
Sonny Jurgensen does have a decent year.
he does.
He throws for over 3,000 yards and 22 touchdowns, but 15 INTs. Also runs for 156 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
He does beat Gabriel in yards by quite a bit, but I think the touchdown differentials favors Gabriel pretty heavily.
Yeah, especially the interceptions.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. He got him Gabriel got him by a couple touchdowns, but
Yeah.
Jurgensen threw like double the interceptions.
But then even Calvin Hill making it 4th in the MVP voting. Like,
Didn't even run for 1,000 yards.
yeah, I know, I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. 940 yards, 8 touchdowns, had 232 receiving yards. Like, I'm sure in that time period in 13 games that he played in, that was nice, but that's not astronomical or anything.
Yeah.
That's kind of average. And then, like I said, Jurgensen has a good year, but it's not. I would say Roman Gabriel's is better.
Yeah.
And then it's pretty much just literally just defensive guys that we don't have stats for. Besides
Right.
sacks.
Yeah.
Deacon and Carl Eller both did have 15 sacks.
Yeah.
And Alex Karras had 7.5, and Butkus had 2. But obviously, Dick Butkus wasn't there just to rush the quarterback.
Right. We don't have tackle numbers
Yeah.
to look at, you know. So
Well, I think offensively, it's definitely Roman Gabriel's to lose.
Yeah.
So I guess unless you really want to go with one of the big time defensive guys, it's Roman Gabriel's. I'd say.
Yeah. I'm sticking with Gabriel. So.
Yeah, I think that's probably 24/7 touchdown interception ratio in this time period is
Yeah.
unheard of.
Yeah, back then you usually threw
Yeah.
more interceptions than
Yeah,
that.
for 69, that's pretty
And he
good.
has 29 total touchdowns, which if you combine rushing, which is
That's 14 games, so that's
that's
more
very
than
nice.
2 touchdowns a game.
And Deacon and Carl Eller both have very nice sack numbers. They have more sacks than games played, but I don't know. I don't. 15 is a very nice number, but it's not astronomical,
Right. And I really don't understand how Joe Cap finished second. His year just wasn't.
Him and Calvin Hill are both making me wonder what the fuck's going on.
Yeah. I don't know what the deal was.
I wonder. Yeah, it's definitely Gabriel. Do we all agree on Roman Gabriel?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah. Well, I think that pretty much wraps up the episode, boys. Unless anyone else has something they want to say about the Rams.
Yeah.
No. But shout out to Major League Baseball, Thank God y'all unbanned Pete Rose after a million years, you fucking assholes.
A lot of people are mad about that.
I kind of like the way the commissioner did it. He didn't excuse his behavior, but he said, lifetime ban ends when your life ends.
That's fair.
Oh, is that what he said?
That's what he said.
Okay.
He said,
okay.
Pete's dead, Shoeless Joe Jackson's dead. Hall of Fame can do what they want. It's a lifetime ban. Life's over.
Okay. I can get on board with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Lots of people are. I'm not saying this is my opinion, but people, people get all upset and throw everything out in the ether now on social media and everything. But people are mad that they are doing this now that he's dead. So there's a group of a large group of the population is just upset because he doesn't get to enjoy it. But they thought, he should have got in long before this.
Well, and then not only that is that they're not going to let him be eligible until 27 or 28.
Yeah.
So if he even gets votes, But I mean, my whole argument was you get sponsorship or you allow these FanDuel, DraftKings stuff to go on. I think you probably should have lifted his ban once y'all started taking the FanDuel money,
Well, and Shoeless Joe Jackson is a little different in that he was part of the scandal where several players on the team threw games. Okay, and I don't know that they always said that he was active in that, but he was involved, I think. But I believe Pete bet on baseball. But I bet Pete bet on himself to win.
Yeah.
I can't see Pete ever betting against himself.
I'm pretty sure they've said that.
Yeah.
When he did he didn't even do it while he played. He did it when he was managing.
Right.
There's a difference.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, he didn't do it while, still he's a manager. I get it. Him getting in trouble. You still can't be a manager of a baseball team and then bet on
Yeah.
baseball. I get that. But that didn't affect his playing career.
No.
And like Uncle Doug said, I'm pretty sure they've come out and said that he always bet for his team to win.
Right.
So, and I understand you still broke a rule. You still get in trouble for it. But I feel like that stuff does make a difference. You have to put context into it. But
Yeah, because you'll have these players nowadays got these dummy accounts and they'll get caught and they'll be out for 2 years.
Oh yeah.
It's not a huge amount of time, but it's a decent amount.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Nobody
Yeah.
knew about it now. Everyone
Yeah.
always said he'd get in when he died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
It is what it is.
Well, and I'll be honest, I've said this from the time it happened. I believe that when Pete accepted it, because they were going back and forth and fighting about it, and Pete finally accepted it, I think he and the commissioner had a gentleman's agreement that after a couple years, the commissioner would lift it. Well, that commissioner died.
Yeah.
Like a year later or something. And I think Pete was just stuck because the guy that was supposed to lift it was now dead and gone.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've always thought that because I couldn't see Pete going down without a fight, and then all of a sudden he's agreeing. okay, I'll go along with it.
Yeah.
But no way we'll know now.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
To the grave, they say.
Yeah.
Well, I think we got it wrapped up, boys.
All right.
Yep.
We'll see
Thanks
you
for
rascals.
listening.
Now, see you rascals next time.
Peace.